Hello, friends, and welcome to the PrepWell podcast. I'm your host, Phil Black. And if you have an 8th, 9th, or 10th grader with big aspirations, like the Ivy League, or military service academies like West Point, ROTC, or athletic scholarships, boom, you've come to the right place. My specialty, my superpower, if you will, is preparing families for these competitive programs. I'll teach you what your child should do, when they should do it, and how you can help. So stick around and prepare to out-prepare. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the PrepWell podcast. In today's episode, I want to introduce another case study that I hope will shed some light on how early intervention in the college admissions process may give your child just what they need to be competitive. I'm talking about brainstorming, direction, inspiration, practical steps. And importantly, the student in this case study, we're going to call him JP for privacy reasons, is a rising sophomore. Let me repeat that. He's a rising sophomore on the cusp of his summer after freshman year. So he's only got 1 year of high school under his belt, which is probably the very best time to engage in this type of work. And I give a lot of credit to his parents, who very astutely understood that there is a pretty small window of opportunity to get their child on the right path, and they're doing all that they can to point him in the right direction. So let me provide some background. JP comes from a family with high-performing parents who are engaged in his life. JP has high expectations for himself. He's smart, he's performed well as a freshman, and he's looking for some guidance about what his next 2 or 3 years might look like in the run-up to the college admissions process. He's highly motivated, he's willing to put in the work, but he's not quite sure where to direct his attention. He has the whole summer in front of him without a lot of commitments right now, but the blankness of that page seems to be more paralyzing than it is liberating. He's not sure where to start, and neither are his parents. In terms of interest, he claims that he's interested in investing, in money management, in cryptocurrency, in NFTs. Beyond that, there's nothing that gets him all that excited or that he's put a lot of time or attention into. Now, my job during this consulting session was to talk to JP, assess his track record, his interests, his strengths and weaknesses, and his aspirations, and to recommend a course of action. So let's go through how it all worked out. Right off the bat, JP came to me with a suggestion from his father that I thought was a very good one, particularly given JP's stated interest in investing. The suggestion was that JP should begin to research and write articles related to investing and submit them to a website called Seeking Alpha. Seeking Alpha is an online platform that allows individuals to submit their own written work, sometimes for free and sometimes for a fee, which after review and editing and tweaking for clarity by their editorial team, would be shared with the Seeking Alpha community. This community consists of people who are educating themselves about investing and stock picking and cryptocurrency and monetary policy, and really any topic related to finance and investing. Some of the articles will pitch particular stocks, funds, commodity plays, derivative strategies, you name it, and you can probably find it on their platform. Why did I consider this a good idea? For one, it can be done at home and at no cost, or nearly no cost, and the internet can definitely be a friend on this type of project. Second, it's not contingent on finding a job. First off, JP's probably too young right now for a legitimate job, or even a fancy internship. He's probably still too young, and it's probably too late for an internship. Instead, it amounts to what I call a self-directed project that can be done anytime, anywhere. And third, it's very aligned with what JP claims to be interested in. He can pick his own topic to research, to think about, to write on. And presumably, this gives him a lot of latitude to find something that he's very excited about. So JP and I discussed at length the prospects of starting this Seeking Alpha project. We talked about the upsides, the downsides, the challenges, and the potential for this to turn into something significant, something special over time, which I think is actually quite high if JP can execute it. Because remember, he just finished freshman year. He has time to develop this activity, this project, into something with a lot of meat on the bone. He doesn't have to be perfect right away. He doesn't have to get his first article published immediately or garner some big following right out of the gate. He has time on his side. And whether or not his claimed interest in investing will support him during these early and probably lonely days of researching, writing, and rejection will be very telling. Does he lose steam after 3 days of research because he can't find a topic to write about? Or will he find a topic that he falls in love with and end up writing 1 article per week for the entire summer? We just don't know until he tries. Now, when I talk to students like JP who have a relatively long time horizon, say 18 months to 2 years, I like to break things down into short-term and long-term goals. The short-term, or the tactical goals, are the things that he would have to do right away, as in tomorrow, to start the ball rolling. The long-term, or the strategic goals, speak to what might happen if things go according to plan. What is the ultimate outcome of going down this path? Now, some might argue that I need to be careful about painting too rosy a picture about the future, given how many obstacles there will undoubtedly be along the way. Well, I disagree. I don't think we need to throttle back the future vision to protect the student from being disappointed. Sometimes students need a compelling long-term vision to keep them motivated during the day-to-day grind. So now I'm going to go through my short-term tactics and my long-term strategies for JP, and as you'll see, they are mostly anchored to the initial idea of submitting articles to Seeking Alpha in an effort to focus JP's energy. The short term, these are the tasks that JP should undertake literally tomorrow to get the project in motion. Number 1, figure out a topic he'd like to write about, whether it's crypto or NFT or gold or monetary policy or inflation. Number 2, research that topic online. Number 3, create an outline for the article. Number 4, actually write the article. Number 5, submit the article online to Seeking Alpha. Number 6, get feedback from the Seeking Alpha editorial staff. Number 7, revise the article and resubmit it. And finally, number 8, get the article published on the free site, or maybe even on the premium site. And I gave him 2 weeks, front to back, to make this happen. Again, the goal is to produce 1 simple article related to investing, any topic of his choice, that finds its way onto the Seeking Alpha platform, even if it's the free version. Now, what does this accomplish? Most importantly, it gives JP structure, a plan, and a deadline. And all of these tasks are very feasible and well within his control. I'm not suggesting that his first article will be any good or valuable to the community, or that it will be a novel idea in any way, shape, or form. It might be terrible. None of that matters. What matters is the process that he goes through to get there. Jumping through these hoops will create a feedback loop that will help JP decide whether or not he's actually interested in investing, or whether he was more interested in thinking that he was interested in investing. I know JP said that he was interested in investing in cryptocurrency, but now he has to actually do something about it. He has to take action. This is where the rubber meets the road. This is where most students fail. They claim they're interested in STEM or engineering or medicine or business, and that's where they leave it. They leave it swirling around in their heads. This is not very helpful. And then when it's time to apply to college, and they have to select an intended major and explain why they're interested in a particular industry or career in their supplemental essays, they don't have much to say. This is what we do not want to have happen to JP. So let's be optimistic and assume that JP starts to put the plan in motion. Right off the bat, he decides that he wants to write his first article about cryptocurrency. He starts conducting his research. He listens to a bunch of podcasts. He reads about it online. He reads more about it in Barron's. He watches YouTube videos. He joins a crypto forum. He even interviews a few family friends. Great. He's doing all the right things. He's taking action. He's building momentum. And lo and behold, he submits his draft article. He receives feedback from the Seeking Alpha editorial team. He makes the necessary edits, and the article is published on the free section of the site. And JP gets very excited about this. He set his mind to something, and he made it happen. And now that he sees what's possible with a bit of hard work and follow through and initiative, he starts to imagine even bigger plans for himself. In fact, in short order, he decides that he wants to be a subject matter expert on cryptocurrency, something that not many 15-year-olds can claim these days. Okay, great. It seems that a fire may have been lit. This is what we're looking for. Now comes the fun part, the long-term vision. The vision where anything is possible, especially since JP is so young and the internet and social media are so potent. What could JP's growing interest in crypto lead to? Well, assuming that his writing improves and that his insight gets sharper and that he's building a name for himself among teens also interested in crypto, here's how JP might start building out the spokes in his wheel. JP continues to publish non-premium or free content on Seeking Alpha. He then uses those non-premium articles to build out his own personal blog. He then eventually publishes some premium content on Seeking Alpha, which raises his profile. He then takes his Seeking Alpha and blog content and starts his own podcast, which he titles Teenager's Guide to Cryptocurrency. And after 15 months, he takes the Seeking Alpha articles and the blog posts and self-publishes a book of the same name. He also then takes $2,000 of his own personal money, his personal savings, and starts investing it in crypto himself, giving him more credibility and a ton of content for more articles and blog posts and podcast episodes. Now that he actually has something to say and some experience and a point of view and growing credibility, he then turns on his social media accounts, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, and a YouTube channel, and he begins to accumulate a following of other teenagers interested in crypto. And then he goes back to school after the summer and he starts a crypto club at school where he immediately has 60 members sign up because he's building a lot of momentum. He then reaches out to investment clubs at other high schools and seeks out speaking gigs at those schools where he gives talks about cryptocurrency, which creates even more content for his social media machine. Eventually, JP moves from speaking to other high school investment clubs to speaking at the local Kiwanis Club or the city council or a local corporation, or dare I say, he ends up on the TED Talk stage. Now, all of these activities taken together create a massive and continuous feedback loop, which helps JP figure out if he's providing valuable content for others or not. If he does this for 18 to 24 months, he will certainly have a ton of feedback and a lot of metrics to back that up. And of course, whether or not the feedback and his success lands him on a TED Talk stage, his knowledge and his personal growth would go through the roof over the course of those 2 years. And boy, oh boy, what an extracurricular activity this would turn into on his college application. This is the definition of what I like to call a signature extracurricular activity, one that has a coherent and compelling through line over the course of 2 or 3 years that really makes sense and gives you a clear picture of what JP would be capable of in college. Does JP sound like someone that you'd like to have on your campus if you were a college admissions officer? And by the end of 2 years, when JP sits down to start filling out his college applications, if all the pieces fell together as we've imagined, JP could confidently call himself a subject matter expert in cryptocurrency, a writer, researcher, blogger, podcaster, YouTuber, self-published author, paid speaker, social media personality and influencer with tens of thousands of followers, and an active cryptocurrency investor. And by the way, this can all be done from JP's closet at home at very low cost. Now, that's what I call a return on investment. Call me crazy, but if I was a college admissions officer, JP's profile would get my attention. I would be a big fan and ready to share his talents with my team in the committee room. In fact, if all these pieces were really falling into place as I've described, they may wonder why JP even needs to go to college at all. But we'll leave that discussion for a different episode. By the way, what are the chances that JP actually follows through on all, none, or some of these ideas? We don't know yet. Time will tell. We just talked 2 weeks ago. He has the right mindset. He's motivated. I've outlined his marching orders from what he should do tomorrow to what's possible in 18 months. He has supportive parents. And the final outcome will be based on his ability to execute this plan. Certainly, it would be ambitious to think that he'd be able to check off all of the boxes that we've envisioned. But even if he gets to 30% or 40% of these things, he's going to be in unbelievable shape. Think of all the learning and the growth that will happen along the way. Now, if you're not having conversations like this with your 8th, 9th, and 10th grader, I suggest you give it a try. If you need outside support to help your child build a vision and a plan for themselves, please reach out to me and we'll set up a meeting. Remember, this window of opportunity is small and it closes quickly. You'll want to strike while the iron is hot. And of course, make sure your child is enrolled in PrepWell Academy so that they get the weekly reinforcement of all of these messages and more. That's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the continued support. If you know a parent with a 7th, 8th, 9th grader, 10th grader, or 11th grader in high school that might find this helpful, please share the episode with them. You can do that by finding the small box with a tiny arrow pointing up. That's the share button. Click that button. Text your friends the link to this episode with a little personal note from you recommending that they give it a listen. If you have questions, comments, or an idea for an upcoming episode, please don't hesitate to reach out to me by email, DM me on Instagram, check out our blog, Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you. Until next week, goodbye, good luck, and never stop preparing. This podcast is brought to you by PrepWell Academy. PrepWell Academy is my one-of-a-kind online mentoring program that delivers to your 9th or 10th grader a short, highly relevant video from me every week. Every Sunday, in fact, where I give them a heads up about what they should be thinking about to stay ahead of the game. To get these valuable lessons into your child's hands, please head over to PrepWellAcademy.com and enroll your child today.